Hi everybody, here's Christian, and this is Pico-8 Hero. Finally, we are here. We are now about to apply knowledge from the last episode. We talked about objects. We're gonna take this knowledge and apply it to our program. Okay, so I identified two elements where I think it makes sense to use objects instead of the solution we had right now. One of them being bricks, and the other one being pills. I think I'm going to use pills first, because I think pills are not quite as integrated in the program. There's like a lot of places where we talk about bricks. Not too many places where we talk about pills yet. So I think changing the pills to a program, to object-based system will be easier. So first, I'm gonna make it so that both systems are working side by side, so to speak. I'm gonna like kind of not delete the pills yet, the previous array-based system. I'm not gonna delete this yet. Instead, I'm gonna kind of like graft a new system onto it until I'm sure it's working, and then I'm gonna start deleting the old stuff. This is usually how I rewrite this kind of stuff. So first, even though we are working with objects now, we still need one array. This is going to be kind of like the master array of just an array of just pills. And the other ones is something that we're going to delete later on. Cool. So when we reset the pills, we reset the array of our pills. That's good. Now, where do we add a pill? Because that's kind of like an obvious moment to be like, okay, yeah, this is now a situation where we need this. Do we have an add pill? We do have a spawn pill function, I'm pretty sure. Catch power up, this is the big, there we go. Power up get, that's not quite what, hit brick, not quite what we're looking for. Spawn pill, there we go. So see, when we do this, we go and create all these things, no longer the case. So, I think it's a good idea whenever you have like this, because this is a setup or a structure that you would have a lot of times, that we will have a lot of times in our games, and you will have a lot of times in your games first as well. We have just an array, and that array just contains a bunch of copies or a bunch of similar objects. Whenever you add an object to those arrays, I think it's good to have kind of like a reference, like a scaffold reference, so to speak. So like a little local variable. I want to call it a local variable. Underscore pill. And whenever I show this to my students, they get a bit confused. So don't get confused now, because we're going to create a variable, but it's going to be a local variable. So we know that local variables, when the function is over, they disappear. But as I said previously, objects exist independent of the variables that kind of reference them. So even if the pill disappears, the object will still exist, and we will put that object, another reference of that object, in our pill array. So we will still have access to it. It will not go away. So this is how I'm going to do this. So pill equals, I'm going to create a new pill. And I'm going to give it all the qualities that pill needs to have. It has to have an X value. Has to have a Y value. It's basically the same stuff that we had with this. It's kind of like we're not really saving any lines of code here. Don't think that we are saving lines of code. We are just rewriting some stuff. I'm pretty sure we don't need the visible stuff anymore, because we'll just remove the pill from the array. So actually, I might actually remove this. I'm gonna remove this. We're just gonna make sure that all of the pills that are on the screen are actually in this array. There's also T, that's very important. That's a type. Okay. I'm gonna keep this around. I'm not gonna keep this around. Oh yeah, that was the different way to add something to an array. Right, important thing, we haven't added it to an array, so I'm going to do this now. So I'm going to add, so our array was just called pill, that's a new array, that's the array that contains our objects. And now in this array, I'm going to put in the object. So I put now the object in the array. The function will be over. Underscore pill will get deleted, but not the content. The content will still exist in our hearts, in the memory of the computer, and of course also in the array. It's going to be, you know, added to the array. Okay, good. So yeah, later on I'm going to do some cleanup here, but now we're adding stuff to the. Actually, here also might be a good moment to remove this part, because so we're going to get actually different types of pills. So now maybe it might be worthwhile to look at when we draw those pills. Let's do that. There. So now we're not going to iterate through the pill X stuff anymore. We're just going to iterate through the pills. And you can see that things are starting to get cleaned up. Things are starting to be actually pretty nice. So we're going to go if pill I. Now we don't actually need to check if it's visible. We know that it's always visible. So we don't need to check for the visibility. So pill, if, so this is if the type, actually we could write it out. Let's write it out. Let's keep it at T, because type is already a reserved word. It turned green, so something needs type, the word type. Okay, so if the type is 5, then something happens. And now down here we are grabbing different elements from the original array. So I'm gonna change them into, so dot T pill dot X. As I can see, instead of addressing different arrays, we address the same array, but we address different properties of objects saved in that array. And that's it. So now this is taken care of. The only thing that we still need to do is the collision detection in our update function. And I'm going to do this real quick. Where is it? Breakout, check, move pills. There we go. And again, the same thing where we, instead of going through pill X, we're going to go through this. We're not going to deal with visibility now, because we don't need this anymore. We are actually removing pills from the array. And then we're moving the pill downwards. And if it left the screen, then remove pill. I'm going to deal with this later. Remove pill. And then I'm going to do a collision detection between the pill and the pad. That's good. Just making sure everything is fine here. And then I'm gonna this is then if that's happened, then depending on the type, I will get a different power up. And here is where I remove the pill. Again, I'm gonna add remove pill here. Good. Again, let me look this up. How do I have? Yeah, you have this. So if you look down here, you can see some stuff with arrays. You can add and delete stuff from arrays. There's this delete works in 2 different ways. We could have done it before as well, but I think it works really nicely with objects where you go, okay, delete pill. That's the array that that contains our objects, and then you just specify. You can specify the index, or you can specify the actual object. So you can go like this. That's the actual object, the reference to the object we're trying to remove. Or you can go like this, where it's kind of like the index of the object that you're trying to remove. But I feel like it's kind of ambiguous with the index when your array also contains numbers. because then it's not clear. Are you talking about the index that you're trying to remove, the index of the entry, or are you talking about the actual number that you're trying to remove from the array? So I'm feeling way more comfortable using this delete function with objects where it's clear that I'm talking about the index. Like so. Let me think about this. There's a bit of a problem here, I realized. The problem that we're having here is that we're removing pills from the array, from the for next loop. And so that changes the array that we are actually iterating it. We're removing things while we're iterating through it. Usually a good solution for this is like a do, but a different type of loop, but we don't have it here. Something we can do is just go reverse in the reverse direction through this. Or we can actually bring back the transparency and just make sure that we kind of mark pills for, okay, they should be disappeared, kind of like mark them for destruction, and then kind of like do a cleanup loop where we actually clean them up. Maybe I'm gonna do this. Let me think about this. So if we delete pill, actually it should be pretty easy. We're just gonna go so the idea is like you talk about, let's say you remove the first entry. So index is at 1, you remove the first entry. Now the first entry is kind of empty and the second entry becomes the first entry. But next loop, you already talk about the second entry. So you basically just need to so you need to remove 1 from I. You were manipulating the I, which is the counter of our for next loop. We're manipulating it so it kind of like everything moves one spot to the left, so to speak. To the left is for you, this direction. So everything moves one spot to the left, and so we also need to kind of make sure that we move our counter ones to the left. I think this will solve that problem. Yeah, let's see if this works. Okay, it didn't really disappear. And then we got some problems. Okay. So maybe it didn't really delete it from the so let me try this now. Did I just undo naturally? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, now it worked. Okay, now it's working. Now it's just not working when it leaves the screen for some reason. Or did it? There was just a bug when it left the screen. Oh, right. So the problem is that yeah. So that the problem is that we remove the pill, and then the array becomes empty. But then we still try to check if the pill collided with the pad. So the solution is just doing an else. Okay, so I guess the solution was actually to put the pill I in here. We just didn't do this. So again, that's why I don't like using the delete function with arrays that contain actual numbers, because then it's not clear if you're removing the index or if you're removing an actual entry from the array. And by doing this, by actually saying like remove from the array pill this specific entry, like this object that exists in this array, you are clear which thing you're removing. Unclosed function. We didn't. That else if I think is yeah, the else ifs are without the break, because different programming languages sometimes have like else if with a space in between. Okay. So yeah, this should be working now. Yeah, it's working. Oh, I love this. There's some problem here. So now we have multiple pills and there was some kind of problem. It didn't want to do what... You know what? Let me make sure. Our thing is, I think the problem is like with this part where we tweak the index. Okay. Oh, we didn't see what the... So there's multiple things. I think we deleted the first one. How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to deal with this? So we could go backwards through this array. Let's go backwards through this array. Let's see if this works. Okay, we had now multiples on the screen. Okay, I'm gonna run this again and see if this problem comes up. If not, I'm consider this bug solved. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think this works now. So the problem is still that we are deleting things from an array we're actually iterating through. And by going backwards through an array, you know, when everything moves to the left, the next thing that you go, because you're going backwards through an array, you will going from right to left, so to speak. So you're going from big numbers to small numbers. And so you kind of avoid the problem of maybe like bumping against the end of the array when the array actually shrinks as you're moving stuff through it, because it shrinks kind of like in the same direction that you're going through it. A bit of a crazy solution, but hey, it works. Something to watch out for. I think a good solution for this, like to avoid this problem altogether, is, as I said before, maybe to mark pills for, okay, they have to be removed, and then do like a special additional loop that actually removes them. Another solution would be maybe to basically to restart the loop every time you notice that something changed. Like, okay, so we removed now one pill, let's go back and restart this entire thing. Then you would have to put this entire loop in a function, and then you would basically inside this function would go return when you when this loop is finished. So just to make sure that you're not that you're not bumping, doing something with this loop that or like with this array, that you're not addressing any values that no longer exist. But yeah, this is fine. This is working now. So let me see what else is new. So we're already at 22 minutes, but I'm gonna maybe real quick. Real quick. This is not gonna be real quick at all. But I want to also do the same. Oh yeah, maybe let's do the cleanup. So we no longer need these things. I will also remove these now. And I think the other stuff didn't need anything. Okay. Yeah, it's still working. Okay, so let me also remove the debug stuff. Where is the debug? Debug. There we go. This debug we don't need it anymore. Okay, and so we're pretty far in this episode, but I didn't want to start like a new episode just to do the bricks. So let me do the bricks real quick. Let me try to do the same thing with the bricks. Okay. The bricks are going to be maybe a bit easier. Maybe just not to bump into the same problem of removing things from an array. This time around, I'm going to keep the invisible stuff around because we're not actually creating a lot of bricks or removing a lot of bricks throughout the game. So that's going to be fine. So I'm going to create a new array called brick. And that's going to be our new, the big array for brick related content. And then, so there's a function called add brick. That's good. That's what we wanted. So in add brick. Yeah, I remember this was a fun function. So we're going to call local, and again we're going to create kind of like a stack scaffolding object or variable for the object, where we create the actual object. Brick equals this, and then we're going to go, or let's call it _b so we don't have to type so much. _b dot x equals I don't like how the cursor behaves sometimes in here. It's distressing. Okay, so this. So visible and type. Type is going to be simply _t, and visible is going to be simply true, and then y is going to be this. And again, I'm going to keep the old version of this around for now. Very important, of course, to actually add this brick to our brick. Did we call it brick or bricks? Just call it brick. It would make sense to call it bricks. Okay. So this is the new version. This is the old version. A little bit more lines of code, but it's more flexible. Okay. So now we can have to go through all of this code and see whenever we're addressing bricks, and then make sure that that we are addressing the new array. So let me see. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, actually, this is reset pills. We can actually see now. Suddenly, reset pills is just one line, so we no longer actually need the reset pills anymore. We could probably just make sure that we replace reset pills with this. That's going to be fine as well. Okay, so for example here, we're no longer checking for this brick visible array. We're just gonna check for bricks. Same here. Bricks point. What did we say? Did we call it v? Yeah, v. Okay, equals true, and oh, it's gonna be bricks. If bricks type is not equals I, then return false. Okay, that's good. Making sure it was bricks, not brick. Okay, that's good. So serve ball, that's fine. Set angle, that's fine. We don't need this. Where do we deal with bricks? Power-ups, that's fine. Ball, 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 pad, pad, ball, ball, ball. As you can see, when we rewrite things for balls, it's going to be very a lot of rewriting, but maybe it's worth it. Okay, so here we're going through all of the bricks. Again, this time around, I'm keeping the visibility around just to avoid those problems. We can maybe later on remove the visibility. I just want to have like a smooth transition. Oh. So bricks I X bricks I Y. I did one undo too much. Okay. Okay. And then brick type. And then there's going to be deflection going on. That's fine. Okay, and then there's a hit brick function, and I'm guessing this is going to be a function that we're going to have to deal with a lot. Some power up stuff. Okay, if bricks I dot t. And this is a long if statement. We have this statement a lot of times, so we're going to just copy this. Okay. Then bricks v equals false. Here, bricks, this is type that changes. There's a pill that we need to spawn here in a second. Just making sure that I think that we changed type one more time here. Yes. Type. Just parsing real quick. Yes, good stuff. And then here, bricks x bricks dot y. Okay, what else? I just feel a bit that maybe I missed something. It's kind of like this when you pack things, you know, when it's like, oh, maybe I missed something. Okay, here's, and where are we checking explosions? That's fine. Bricks T bricks T. And when we explode bricks V bricks V a lot of replacement. Probably we could probably get away with doing like a find and replace kind of situation. But I would like to go this, you know, manually through all of this stuff just to make sure that we're not making any mistakes here, and to kind of like make sure that we're catching like all of like maybe special situations where it's like, oh, this now suddenly works so much different, you know. Okay, we're drawing a bunch of bricks here. Okay, and then if this works immediately, I would be very surprised because we rewrote a lot of code. And there's bound to be some mistakes in here, right? Right? Somebody's like flipping out, like watching me doing this and like flipping out. No, you made a huge mistake here. I'm sorry. It seems to be working though. I want to finish this level just to make sure that the function that checks if a level is finished is still working. Maybe I shouldn't have picked up the slowdown. I just want to finish this level. Oh, maybe this was the wrong spin. Oh, actually, this was... Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, beautiful. Okay, it worked. Okay, good. So actually, this worked. I'm kind of surprised that it was this easy. Again, maybe because we used the transparency this time around, the visibility stuff, we avoided kind of like the problems that we had previously. But I think you could now go ahead and rewrite this to work similar to like to actually remove the bricks from the array instead of turning them invisible. But I will keep this around. We will do this for sure later on when we're removing balls from the ball array. Good stuff. So I think this is it for today. Oh. Ha, see, now I removed something and now it's flipping out because like, oh, what? Okay, so how do you search for things in this thing? Control F. Brick X. Ah, see? Ah, because we're adding bricks. Okay, got it. We don't need this anymore. There's still some brick X. Ah, I got it. I could have a maze that just still worked. There's still some brick X. There's some kind of... Today is a episode with lots of errors. Still something. Oh yeah, right. Still? Okay. Oh no. Yeah, I know where the problem comes from. That comes from... Oh man, this is turning into a very long episode. I told you, it's tricked us. It seemed like there was no mistakes, but there are actually mistakes. That's okay. You rewrite code and things are bound to bubble up. Okay, so here, look at this. I think we rewrote this wrong. Bricks X, bricks V. We should have Y. Yeah. Okay, good. This works. So I know it doesn't seem so great because it just does the same thing, like the program just the same thing that it did before. But maybe just to show like an example of what you can do now with this. You can now expand the brick functionality without doing a lot of rewrites, without tapping into deeply into what bricks are, how bricks are treated. So where we do create the bricks. So for example, here's where we're adding a brick. We can now come up with new. So for example, we talked about maybe we're going to have HP. So you can now add the HP. Let's say we have 10 HP for each brick. Let's go with 5. So you can now add HP. And everything is still working. It's just like a new quality that the bricks now have. And you don't have to now go somewhere and, make sure that the array is working. It's like this new quality is being treated together with all the other properties that the bricks already have. So now you can, the bricks can have multiple properties. And again, this is going to be becoming very important later on when we do stuff like particles, where particles have a lot of properties and you constantly want to tweak them around and you keep adding new properties, and then having objects is crucial. Very long episode, a lot of bugs, but we did this. If I was too fast and you weren't able to kind of keep up with all the changes I made, I will post the code as always in a doobly-doo. There's always going to be a paste bin. So yeah, check this out and make sure to ask any questions if you are not following something. See you next time around, guys. Bye bye.